I'm the best fighter in the world, and truthfully speaking, they could say whatever they want, but it's gonna come down to a day, and it's gonna be a day where um,
The highly anticipated clash between Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson is now locked in for November 23rd in Las Vegas, where both fighters will step into the ring with everything on the line as they aim to unify the lightweight world titles in one massive showdown.
I don't know what was going on at the time. I don't know.
Come on, man.
I don't want to tell you nothing for.
I'm not gonna put it out while you left, but you remember.
Why you think I left?
It came out your mouth.
Let me hear it, man. I want to
It
hear it.
came out your mouth, Shakur. You gonna deny that shit.
What I say?
You don't remember saying, yo, I gotta leave my tooth up in the back. I gotta go get this shit.
This nigga's lying.
Oh, my goodness.
This nigga's lying.
You gotta stop that shit. You have to leave.
Hey,
You have to leave, Shakur.
on my daughter, that nigga ain't.
You said I gotta go shit.
Nigga, do you remember the sparring tech?
Yeah, that was the last one.
Do you remember how the sparring tech went?
Shakur Stevenson has been calling for a fight with Gervonta Davis for months, pushing for that big stage matchup under the brightest lights, but for a long time it felt like it might never happen. Even with all his efforts, the clash stayed out of reach until recently. Stevenson spent time under Top Rank, where opportunities for blockbuster fights didn't always come through, and both he and promoter Eddie Hearn pointed fingers at what they felt was weak promotional backing from Bob Arum that slowed his momentum. Now Stevenson has moved on, becoming a free agent after his last bout with Artem Harutyunyan, and many in boxing see him as one of the most talked about names in the sport. Hearn also highlighted that Stevenson recently drew the biggest ESPN audience of 2024, proving his star power is growing fast, and with the right promotion behind him, his rise could reach an entirely new level of recognition.
And I say the same thing all the time. I think he's a pound-for-pound great fighter. I think he's one of the best fighters in the sport. You know, he had a good crowd in Newark. He just drew the biggest audience on ESPN of 2024, and people still like to criticise. He's not Arturo Gatti. He's not going to go in there with his chin in the air and give you a war every.
But despite all the promotional complications, Shakur Stevenson still needs those elite-level fights to truly prove himself at the top. Eddie Hearn emphasized that rival promotional sides have to cooperate if fighters like Stevenson are going to get the opportunities they've earned. He also pointed out that a matchup between Tank Davis and Stevenson would be extremely dangerous for Davis, which is why the deal depends heavily on Tank's side and PBC. Hearn made it clear he doesn't want Shakur missing out because of politics or ego, especially since collaborations are becoming more common in boxing now. In the end, it all comes down to whether Tank and PBC are willing to take that risk, particularly with Davis still needing to get past Vasily Lomachenko first before anything else moves forward.
Nobody brought that out on him, man. I feel like as each fight get on, somebody's gonna keep, like a Shakur Stevenson might bring that out of him. Like, he's a boxer, but he's a puncher. Any shot that he can land on Shakur can put Shakur out. So it could be an early night, but I know I'm waiting for that fight. I can't wait.
On July 16th in Newark, Shakur Stevenson picked up a clear unanimous decision win over Artem Harutyunyan, but the reaction from the crowd was far from celebratory. Instead of applause, he was met with loud boos, and a number of fans even left before the final bell. The criticism centered around his style, with many feeling he fought too cautiously and didn't open up enough to entertain. Stevenson later argued that his opponent refused to engage aggressively, which limited his ability to showcase his full skill set or turn the fight into something more exciting. While he remains widely respected for his elite defense and technical mastery, that night drew backlash for a lack of risk-taking and action. Afterward, Stevenson pushed back on the criticism, explaining that Harutyunyan didn't bring the kind of pressure needed to create an entertaining fight, and added that he respects fans who truly understand boxing, while those who don't are quick to judge without seeing the full picture.
The ones that don't, same way they say, I say fuck them. So, like I said, I appreciate the ones that come out and support and understand the art of boxing is hit and don't get hit. So I appreciate them fans, and they understand too that my last fight wasn't every night. I don't do that every night. I had nights where I crowd please, I beat people up, I stay in the pocket.
For that, Stevenson has made it clear that one performance doesn't define his whole career. He insists he doesn't fight that way every time, saying there are nights where he stands his ground, entertains the crowd, and still dominates on the inside, because he considers himself one of the best pocket fighters in the sport. And now the hype around this matchup is only getting louder, especially with figures like Kenny Ellis, Gervonta Davis's trainer, stepping in and giving his take. Ellis has expressed confidence that the fight can be made and believes Stevenson is more than willing to step up now that he's no longer under top rank, even suggesting Shakur is pushing hard for a November showdown with Tank, questioning how far that willingness really goes once the pressure is real. On the other side, Eddie Hearn continues to push for the fight as well, openly discussing his interest in working with Stevenson and potentially guiding him into a blockbuster clash with Davis, while also making it clear that everything depends on timing, opportunity, and the willingness to take risks. With Davis still targeting a Lomachenko fight first, everything could shift if plans change, leaving Stevenson as a ready-made opponent waiting in the wings. Now that promotional barriers are fading and both fighters are being linked more seriously than ever, the stage is being set for one of the biggest fights boxing could see in recent years, although even Davis's camp has raised questions, with Kenny Ellis revealing that no one from Stevenson's side was willing to bet that he could go the full 12 rounds against Tank, a detail that only adds more tension and doubt to an already explosive potential matchup.
I love this. Yes.
Well, 12 rounds.
Front and center, baby. I'm proud of the west side of there, Millie. There.
And there's nobody on his team that would bet $1 million that it'll go 12 rounds. Wow. Because they don't.
Kenny Ellis has already doubled down on the $1 million bet situation, pointing out that even Shakur Stevenson's own side wasn't willing to stake that kind of money on him going the full 12 rounds. Meanwhile, Ellis himself has taken things to another level, putting his reputation on the line by saying publicly that if the fight goes the distance, he would step away from boxing, believing he has trained the best version of Tank Davis and proven himself as one of the top trainers in the sport. He's standing firmly behind that claim with full confidence, showing just how high the stakes and emotions are around this potential showdown.
If it be 12 rounds, I'm walking away from boxing. Wow.
The game is not, we're going to win the fight. The game is, we're going to knock him out. If we don't knock him out, we don't win. Put $1 million up.
If we look at Gervonta Davis's most recent performance, it once again highlighted his knockout power and fight IQ at the highest level. On June 15, 2024, he stepped into the ring at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas to face Frank Martin after a long 14-month layoff. Despite the time away, Davis immediately took control of the fight and delivered a statement finish, stopping Martin with a devastating knockout in the 8th round. That victory pushed his record to 30 wins with 28 knockouts, reinforcing his reputation as a fighter who can end fights in an instant. His pressure, aggression, and ability to land fight-ending shots were fully on display, further strengthening the belief that he sits among the most dangerous pound-for-pound forces in boxing. On the other hand, Shakur Stevenson's last outing told a very different story. After winning a unanimous decision over Artem Harutyunyan, he was met with boos from the crowd, with many fans frustrated by what they saw as a cautious and low-output performance. Stevenson's style is built around defense, timing, and technical control rather than knockout power, which often keeps him safe but can sometimes reduce excitement for spectators. However, his trainer, Bozy Ennis, later revealed that Stevenson wasn't at full physical capacity during that fight, dealing with injuries that limited his ability to push for a stoppage. Hand issues, in particular, have reportedly been a recurring problem for him, affecting his punching output over time. Even with those setbacks, Stevenson still managed to secure the win using sharp boxing IQ, discipline, and a carefully executed game plan.
He boxed him and he win. But I talked to him last night. Both of his hands was hurt. He told me. He said both of his hands was hurt. You know what I mean? And that wasn't the first time, you know what I mean? They said, and I talked to his cousin, even before, he was telling me something about his hands. He always hurting his hands when he punched. So, you know what I mean? But listen, man, he did what he had to do. And I told him, stop listening to the crowd.
You know what I mean, and it's not even the first time this has come up. I even talked to his cousin who mentioned Shakur has dealt with hand problems for a long time, saying he often hurts them when he throws punches, but despite that he still gets the job done, and the message around him has been to block out the noise, ignore the crowd, and stay focused on business. Recently, Shakur has also been very quiet on social media, which has made fans question his mindset heading into a potential Gervonta Davis fight, with Greg Hackett suggesting this silence could either mean he's avoiding pressure or actually locking in strategically for something big, possibly even a sign that negotiations are moving forward. At the same time, Shakur's co-manager Josh Dubin has confirmed they are ready for the fight and waiting on the financial terms, making it clear that everything now depends on Davis's side and the money being right, while emphasizing that Shakur is willing to fight anyone and this is a matchup he has been asking for a long time, leaving the boxing world waiting to see if both camps can finally make it happen. That statement has now started circulating again online as discussions around the fight continue to grow. Many fans are beginning to believe it could actually come true, and if it does, it would easily become one of the biggest fights of the year. Chris Algieri also weighed in on the matchup, reacting to that same statement and breaking down what makes this clash so intriguing. He focused on how both fighters bring strong defensive skills along with real punching power, and explained that when two elite defensive minds with knockout ability share the ring, it has all the ingredients to become a historic showdown. Justly Darius Coe, also known as AKO, also shared his thoughts on the matchup and described Shakur as a pure boxer with elite movement, especially from the southpaw stance, which makes him extremely difficult to figure out in the ring. At the same time, he pointed out the major problems Stevenson could face against Gervonta Davis, explaining that Shakur's usual approach of boxing at range, controlling distance, and winning on points would be much harder to execute against a pressure fighter like Tank, who is excellent at cutting off the ring and carries knockout power in both hands that can change the fight in a single moment. It looks like Derrick Jackson has already taken a side for the potential November showdown this year. Jackson, who has been around Gervonta Davis since his early days, praised Tank's consistency, growth, and overall talent, explaining how he has evolved from a young prospect into a fully established elite fighter. He described Davis as a high-level performer who delivers when it matters most, and said he's exactly where he deserves to be in the sport right now. Davis's rise has largely been fueled by his explosive knockout power and his ability to stay calm under pressure, which has earned him both a strong fan base and respect from critics, and Jackson's comments only add more weight to his reputation as one of boxing's top names today. At the same time, Jackson also acknowledged Shakur Stevenson, mentioning that he has watched him spar multiple times at top rank and respects his technical ability, but he also hinted at a key difference between the two fighters, setting the stage for an even bigger contrast heading into this potential clash.